Good morning, my learners at home. How are you today? I hope you are well. Are you running around to keep your energy? You have to, because you need the energy to do the exercises and the schoolwork. Good morning, my friend. How are you today? Okay. Welcome to my zone online school. My name is Mrs. Mudabeti. Our theme for this week is local media. Before we start with our topic for today, we are going to sanitize our hands. And remember, you must keep your social distance from other people of about 1 meter or 1.5. Let us sanitize our hands. Spray it through nicely and rub it in. Rub out and between your fingers. Our lesson for today is problem solving, maths, 2D shapes, addition and subtraction. Let's go to page 8. We are going to do our problem solving them. Problem solving are word sums. So before you start working on the problems, you have to read them and with understanding. Therefore, we are going to start reading the first one and we have to understand. For our level, we are just going to use only 2 operational signs, which is plus and minus, addition and subtraction only. So when you read your problem, what comes to your mind should only be, is it a minus or is it a plus? Is it addition or is it subtraction? So let's read together number 1. On Wednesday, you saw 12 ribbons on one tree and 7 on another tree. How many ribbons did you see all together? Did you understand the statement there? Okay. On Wednesday, you saw how many ribbons? There are 12 ribbons that you saw. And on one tree. And on another tree, how many did you see? You saw 7. Now they are asking you, how many ribbons did you see all together? So what does the word all together means? So that means you get the total number altogether. You plus from the 12 ribbons on another tree, and on another tree you saw 7. Therefore, you plus them together. Do you also remember how we plus? For you to get the quick answer, you have to plus in columns. If you cannot plus with the columns, you can take your stones and count them together. Now let's check if we can plus in columns, how we can get the answer as quick as possible and finish. Okay, we saw 12 ribbons on one tree. You write your 12. And you saw how many on another tree? 7. So the 7 must come under a 2. Remember, do not forget your place values. These are the units, that is the tens. So if a number is alone, it is not a tens. Units are always single. They mean single. So a unit must follow under a unit. Therefore, now you can add your 2 and your 7. You have 2 fingers. You can count your 2 stones. And you have got 7 with a full 5 fingers and a 2. What do you get when you add the 2? So a 2 and a 7, when you add them together, you get your 9. Nicely under the units. And what about a 1 with nothing? It's just a 1. So our answer there will be 19. But if you have the stones or the sticks, just count number 12. You put them aside and count 7 on the other side. Then you count them together to get the total. You still get the number 19. But if you feel it's too much to go and pick the stones, just use this method. Are we together? Okay. We are going to read the second one and see what operation sign are we going to use there. Now come with me to page 8 again. Let's do the second one together. Your friends just gave you 12 sparkle markers. Now you have 19. Your friend gave you how many? They gave you 12. And now you have a total of 19. So, how many did you have before your friends gave you 12? How do you know? You were having already the sparkle markers, but you did not count them. So how will you know how many you were having? So, what operation sign do you think we can use there? I think we have to take away. Because now we have to find out what were you having before you were given the 19. Therefore, you must minus. What do you minus? You minus 19 minus 12. In the same way, if you don't want to use the sticks and the stones, you can use the column way. Let's check how we can use the column way. Now you have 19. So you write your 19 nicely there. You have to take away the 12 which your friends have given you. So you take away your 12. Nicely you write it under there. Remember the units and the tens. They must be separated and be written nicely in columns like that. So now you have your 9 and your 2 in the units. Now you take away 9, take away a 2. You can just use your fingers quickly. 9, take away 2. You fold 2 fingers. And how many is left here? That is 7. So your answer here will be 7. Now 1, take away 1. You only have 1. And if you take it away, what will be left is nothing. Then you just have a 0. So this is the quickest way you can get it if you don't have the sticks and the stones nearby you. So I would like you to do the rest at home. Remember to read them nicely and with understanding. And after that, you have now to decide what operation sign are we going to use. Is it a plus or is it a minus? There are only 2 operation signs for this page. Okay. Let's go over to page 9. Grade 3s, come with me to page 9. Grade 2s, if you are done with your problem solving, you are also welcome to join us. It's fine. All right. Okay, we are going to look at the number line. We are going to look at the number line. There are some numbers which are given to us on some points. And some numbers are just indicated to us with arrows, meaning we have to find out what number is supposed to be on a certain point. Now, before we do that, how do we know what number is supposed to be there? We have to find out the sequence in which they are counting. Okay. Now, the first number which is given to us is a 50 on a point which is a bit bolder or a bit black than the other ones or a bit bigger. Now, there are small points also, the small lines which are given to us. They are also representing some numbers. Now, we have to find out in which sequence or in which order are they counting. Now, when we look at the numbers coming from the first point, second, third, there are 4 small lines there before we come to 50. What do you think they are counting in? Okay, are they counting in 5? Let's try. The first dot being 5, 5, 10, 15, 20, then 25. No, then they are not counting in 5. Can we try 10 perhaps and see if we will get a 50 when we are on the 50? Okay, the first point being 10. Let's count 10, 20, 30, 40, and then 50. So they are counting in 10. Therefore, when you are counting all these dots in 10, you will get to the last number. And that will be easy for you to know which number then is supposed to be in that box, which is indicated with the arrow. So continue counting in 10. When you reach on the arrow, that number, quickly write it in so that you don't forget the number that you have counted. So count in 10 until the end and write for me the answers in the boxes. Are we together? That is easy. Let's continue with the next exercise. On the next exercise, we are going to split the numbers. The answer will be given to us nicely on the middle. Okay. Okay, the first one, the answer should be 9. What two numbers should you combine together to get the answer 9? The first one is done for you there. 1 plus 8 is 9. What about 2? What number are you going to add with a 2 to get a 9? If you add a 8 again to a 2, are we going to get a 9? No, you will get a 10, meaning a 8 will be wrong there. So try another number. Let's try 7. If we plus 7 plus 2, what do we get? 9. That is very good. So you put a 7 there. Then you come under also find two other combinations of number that can give you a 9 and do the other with the other box. So do the same with the rest. The next one will be 8. Your answer should be 8 on the middle. Find two combinations of number that will give you the answer 8. And the 7, a 6, a 5, a 4, a 3, and a 2. In the same way that we got the first one. All right. Now we will continue with the third exercise on the same page. We are going to expand and half the number. So we want to get the half of a number that is given to us. So I'm going to do with you the first one and the third one. The first block there and the third block to get the answer. All right. So how did they get to get the half of 42 being 21? They are telling us that 40 plus 2. How did they get a 40 plus 2? Let's try and check on the chalkboard how we can get that one. Okay, come with me to the chalkboard. I have 42. Now I want to find the half of 42 in an easiest way or in a quickest possible way. So 42, they tell us we first have to expand. Remember, to expand is to decompose the numbers. So now I have 42. If I have to expand it or I have to decompose it, now I have to always go back to the units and the tens and the hundreds, your place values. So I have, how many tens do I have here? I have 4 tens. These are the tens, remember, these are the units. So the tens that I have here, I have 4 tens, meaning 10, 20, 30, 40. So I write my 40 there. Plus, how many units do I have? I have 2 units. Now I have splitted the number, I have expanded. Now after that, now I have to find a half of 40. That will be the easiest way because now a 40 is a 4 and a 0. So what is the half of a 4? Is a 2. A 2 is a half of a 4. So a 0 just come down. Then 20 plus what? What about a half of a 2? Half of a 2 is 1. So half of a 2 is 1. Are we together? Are we still together on that page? Okay, that is the steps that they have taken there. All right. So now, what is the half of a 20? Half of a 20 is 10. Are we together? Okay, half of a 20 is 10. And half of a 1 is, half of a 1 is half. Okay, so now if we want to find out how many halves are, what is the half of 42? The half of 42, we can just end it here to say it will be, because a 1 will not have a half again, they will not continue. So we'll just end it there to say now 20 plus 1 and then we are done. Then we just say 21. So we can say now a half of 42 is 21. There is nothing left out. Are we together? Okay, so that are the steps that they have followed. So let's try in the third block. How did they get to get the answer 13? What did they do? That is 27. Let me rub out this one and use the same steps. Okay, That is 27. And they are telling us the answer is 13 and remainder 1. How did they get a remainder of 1? Remember also, you must follow the same sequence, the place values, the units, and the tens. How many tens do we have here? There are 2, so it's a 10, and a 10, that is a 20. That's how they got the 20, which is there, plus a unit is a 7. That is how they got to the next step. Now, what is the half of a 20? Half of a 20 is what? Is 10. And half of a 7. So a 7 will give us a bit of a challenge. Remember how you can do it with that number. You can draw your line to make a half. This is a half. So you count your 7 and see how many will be on each side. So I'll be counting 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. So 7 ends on one side. Remember, it was supposed to be equal, but it's not equal. Meaning what? Therefore, the half here will be, there is 3 here and 3 there. So the half will be 3. And what is remaining is 1. So that one is a remainder. So I'm going to say it's a 3 here and remainder, I can just write it in short, 1. So now I can end it here. 10 plus 3 is what? That is 13. Don't forget the remainder. Don't throw it away. 13 remainder 1. So that is how they get to their answer. Are we together? So I want you to do the rest in the same way. Do not forget your remainder if there is a remainder. If there is no remainder, you can end it without a remainder. Are we together? Okay, thank you. Let's go over to page 10. Grade 2, come with me over to page 10. We are going to look at the mess. We are going to order and compare some objects. Which one is heavy and which one is light. Now, on the pictures that we see on page 10, they are showing us it's a scale, it's a balance, to balance the scale. Now, if the things or if the objects are the same, for example, if I will use this hanger, let me just show you. If I use this hanger, do you see the cups? They are all straight. Meaning what? Meaning this side and that side are the same. They weigh the same. Their heaviness is the same. But if it will go this way, if I put something inside this cup, you see? So this cup will be a bit heavier than the other side, meaning the side which goes down is heavy. Are we together? If it goes the other side, it means something, an object which is placed in this cup is heavier than on the other side. Are we together? So when you look at the scales which are given there on page 10, now, if the first one, for example, is this way, meaning the object which is this side is heavy. So what you have to do there, you have to draw for me the objects showing the scales to show the balance of the scales. If this left side is up, meaning is lighter, so you only have to draw a small object down there falling, hanging from the rope there, from that line going up. And on the other side is down, meaning what? You have to draw for me the biggest object on this side. So you have to compare all the scales there. And the other one is up the other side. So the side which is up, meaning, it means what? It means it's lighter. And the side which is down, it means it's heavier than the other side. So if the scale is straight, like the way I was showing, it means the two objects are weighing the same. then you have to draw the same size of objects on that scale. Okay, so grade 2s, you can do that exercise for me. Enjoy the drawing. Once you are done, we can continue to page 11. That is the quickest one. You just have to draw the different objects. But on page 11, we are going to do a quick revision of the shapes, the two-dimensional shapes. Do you also remember your shapes? If you look at these shapes which are here on this page, will you remember their names? Okay, let me go through with you the shapes just to remind you of them and how do they look and what are their names, so that you are able to identify them when you see them on this picture. Okay, so I'm having here with me some shapes. What is the name of this shape which is here? It's round, nicely colored with blue. What is the name of that shape which is round? It is a circle. Okay, so that is a circle. And which shapes are looking like this one on those houses which are there? And what about this shape? Two long sides and two short sides. Do you still remember its name? It's a rectangle. And this one, nicely in green, all the sides are equal. What is the name of the shape? Do you still remember it? It's a square. Very good. Okay, we also have this one in paper. Nice one. What is that? That is a triangle having three sides. Okay, so now you have learned and you have revised your shapes. Now you can remember them. So you are going to look at these three different objects which are drawn here. And you are going to count for me the shapes and write the number of the shapes that you see there. The first shape there, it's a square. How many squares do you see on this house? You write the number. The second one is a circle. How many circles do you see there? Write the number. Please count them nicely. And the third one is a triangle. How many triangles do you see there? And the fourth one is a rectangle. How many rectangles do you see there? Okay. And after you have done that, you can create the same object, the same house. You can draw the same house on the space which is provided for you. Okay. That was not difficult, was it? It was very easy. I hope you enjoy your drawings and your counting and the reminding of the shapes. Thank you. Let's go over to page 12. Let's go over to page 12. And the first exercise, we are going to count. The first exercise there is just about counting. We are going to count today from 200 up to 300. Now we are given a number line. Remember, whenever we are given a number line to count on, you must first find out the sequence in which they are counting. Are they counting in ones or in twos or in five or in whatever number? You have to find out. All right. Okay. Our number line starts from 200 up to 300. All the small lines are representing numbers, and the big lines also represents numbers. So the first example they have given us there, the numbers are all here under. But the first example they have given us there on the arrow, they are telling us that on that small line there, the number that must follow there is 209. So the first one on the first line is 200. Now we don't know these lines which are in between. What numbers are they representing? But we are given the other point there to say it's 209. Now we have to find out in which sequence were they counting. Now let's try counting in one. 200, 201, 202, 203, 204, 205, 206, 207, 208, 209. So, without wasting time, we have already figured out that they are counting in ones. Therefore, you have to count in ones, continue from 209, 210, up to 300. Once you reach the line, which is having a box on top, you have to fill in that number so that you know which numbers are there on the lines which are given there. Okay. After counting, we are going to do the other one. The next exercise, we'll do subtraction of numbers. We have to find out the number that is short. This subtraction is a very easy way and is a very quicker one. So I'm going to demonstrate for you two exercises on the board and see how do they get to their answer by finding the number which is short. Okay. Let me do with you the ones that I have written on the chalkboard. Okay. Remember your place values again. These are the units and those ones are the tens. Okay. So in this exercise and on this method, what we are going to do is 80 take away 30. These ones are the tens. How many tens do I have here? I have 8. I have 8 tens, meaning it's a 80 already on its own. This one. Let me write with another color. So this one is a 80 on its own. Now what about the number under? I have a 36. A 3 is a 10. So how many tens do I have? There are 3. So that is a 30 on its own. And that is a unit. Now, I'm going to take away. Are we together? So what will be 80 take away 30? 80 take away 30. Remember there is a 0 and there is a 0 there. So a 0 will obviously come down. And what about 8 take away a 3? What am I left with? I'm left with a 5. So I'm writing my 5 there. So I have a 50 there. Are we together? Okay. So now I have my 6 here and there is nothing. That is the 0. So what is also short there to make a 0 here? Okay. What is short there is just a 6 so that it can also balance down there. So I'm just having a 6 here alone. There is nothing. So that is the number that is short there. Are we together? And we are minusing. Don't forget the sign. Okay. So now from here, I have to take away 50. Now take away a 6. So now I have broken down my numbers. Now it's easy. 50 take away a 6. Now you can go to your stones. You can count your number of stones up to 50. And you can take away a 6. What will remain will be 44. That 44 is your final answer. Are we together? So this is how we use this method. It's the easiest way. You first have to break down that number to make it only a 50 there, which is easy because it's just having a 0 at the end, and then that one will come down. The unit will have to come down, and you take it away, and you get your final answer. Let's try another exercise so that you can do the rest. Okay, in the same way again, units and tens. I have 4 tens. That gives me 40. And I have 2 tens. That gives me 20. And the units there is a 0, and I have a 8 alone there on the units. So if now I have a 40 and a 20, there is a 0 and a 0, then that 0 just comes down there. And I'm remaining with a 4 and a 2. 4 minus 2 is what? Is 20. Is a 2. So I have a 20 there. Sorry. It's a 2. With that 0, it's a 20. Now, what is short there? The 8 is alone there. It must just come down. Are we together? Okay. It comes down. Now I can continue taking it away. 20 take away 8. what will be the answer? The answer will be 12. That is how they got the 12. So this method is very easy, it's very simple, because we don't need to be carrying over and putting there and carrying over and putting there. We just first work out the numbers with the place values and we end there. So in the same way, following the examples that I have given you, please do the rest. Okay. While still on page 12, there are two more exercises there. Remember, we did the even numbers and the odd numbers. Do you still remember? The even numbers, what are they? The even numbers are those numbers that we are counting in 2. When we count in 2, the numbers that we are calling out, those are what we call even numbers. And the other way of getting an even number, if the numbers are too big, it will be difficult for you to count until that number. So what you have to check for a 0, a 2, a 4, a 6, and a 8 at the end of a number. If that number is ending with a 0, with a 2, with a 4, with a 6, with a 8, then that number is an even number. You don't need to count until that big number. You just check the end, the number which is at the end of that number. Then you circle it. Okay. So on the first one there, identify the even numbers and underline them for me, please. And the next exercise, which is the last one on this page, is about the odd numbers. Now, what about the odd numbers? Remember, the numbers that we skip when we are counting in 2, they are our odd numbers. And what is the other way of identifying an odd number? If the number is too big, I can't count it and I can't call it properly. I just have to check the last number on the number. If the number is too big, you just check at the end. What is the ending number there? Is it a 1? Is it a 3? Is it a 5, a 7, or a 9? If at the end is having all these numbers that I have called, then you know it's an odd number. You don't need to count. So please identify for me the odd numbers on these numbers which are under there and underline it for me. All right? Okay. Let's move over to page 13. On page 13, we have problems. Remember what I have advised you to do whenever you are doing the word sums. The problems are word sums. You have to read first the problem and understand it. After you have read it, then you will be able to know what operation sign am I to use. Are we together? Okay, let's do the first one. There were 103 camels standing on a hill. 20 camels walked away. How many camels are left on the hill? What do you understand about that statement? They are telling us how many camels were standing on the hill? 103. And then what happened? Then 20 of them walked away. So meaning what? How many camels are left on the hill? What operation sign are we to use on that statement? I think we have to minus. We have to subtract because the other ones walked away and the other ones were remaining. So you count the ones that have remained. That is your answer. So you have to minus. Take away 103 minus 20. You go to the second one. Rita had 120 marbles. She then gave 62 marbles to Tony. How many marbles does Rita have left? She was first having 120 marbles. And she decided to give to Tony how many? 62. So how many marbles is she still left with? So what is the operation sign there again? It's still subtraction. We minus because we take away. She has taken away from her marbles and gave to Tony. Okay, so I want you to read the next one and up to the last one. You read with understanding and you find out the operation sign that you will use there. Remember to keep a distance from other people of 1 meter or 1.5. And to sanitize your hands always. Rub it through into your fingers, behind and on the other hand. Now we'll call our friend Zoshi to say goodbye.
Hi everyone, my name is Zoshi, I'm back. And you can always stay active throughout the lockdown. You can play with your friends, but keep your distance. Like me and my friend, yay! And you can also jog and sing to be active. Until next time, bye!